Hey,
Hey,
nice to meet you. I'm here for the podcast.
I'm Sergio. I spoke to you. Ben,
Nice.
right?
Yeah, Ben. Nice to meet you, Sergio.
Nice to meet you too. So, actually, this is the back row warehouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure where the front was. I was a little...
No worries, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is, we'll go upstairs, but you're more than welcome to pop in. I'll introduce you to the guys working on a different project right now.
Okay.
So we'll do the podcast upstairs in the office in the mezzanine.
Sounds good. Hey, nice to meet you guys. I'm Bennett. I'm with the Buchabox podcast.
Nice, man. How are you?
So
Good.
yeah, I'm gonna be stepping upstairs for like 30 minutes doing this. So Sonny, I actually have.
Sweet, man. I'm
Nice to
Sid.
meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so me,
Sid.
Sergio, and Adam started together.
Cool. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you guys.
Yeah, where are you from, man?
I'm from Miami.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What brings you up to Baltimore?
Visiting some family and at the same time doing the podcast. So, you know,
Cool.
2 in 1.
We appreciate you featuring us in it.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read some of your story online and I was like, oh man, this sounds really interesting. So
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's okay. So here's a sample at the beginning of the list.
I also think that, yeah, I mean, the warehouse person.
Let me know.
Managed. Yeah, but it was a nice episode. So,
Nice.
but I'm happy to be here as well. So
Yeah, welcome. Actually, if you want, you can do a quick tour.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
And then,
yeah.
yeah, we can start. So I just have to be at 11. I have to.
So what kind of collaboration are you guys doing?
So we're working with them on a drink made from panela,
Panela.
chancaca.
No idea.
It's like the unrefined sugar. Chancaca en Perú es como que es como azúcar pero sin procesar. Que
Oh,
es
I
como-
think they did that with the one that I'm telling you about too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that
they
would
said,
surprise me.
yeah, it's like super raw.
Yep. Completely unrefined sugar.
He mentioned it was like a little hard to bottle because it's hard to determine the sugar content in
Yes.
each one. So even though you get like a teaspoon, it's not like an even teaspoon of sugar every time.
So, do you have a preference? You want to try a couple different ones?
I would love to try them all, but I don't want to be like too
No worries. So,
imposing.
we only have some. We're sold out of a couple flavors. So you can see we make boxes before. Nowadays we bottle, so we have everything set up because it takes 2 weeks to brew.
Oh, eh?
We have everything set up in. I'm gonna put these upstairs real quick, and then I'll show you around. So we have everything set up on a 2-week cycle.
Yeah.
So every week we have a batch ready. So you'll see in our brew room, half the tanks are allocated to 1 week, the other to the other week. Go back downstairs.
Watermelon hops, mango peach. Excited for the mango peach.
They're all super light, and we'll get into more of the podcast, but our whole mission is to make kombucha more approachable and available to the general public.
Yeah.
We feel like it's really been like pigeonholed to like the Whole Foods crowd here in the U.S.
So you make like a different flavor that's like lighter?
Yeah, so instead of, for example, we use like green tea instead of black tea, so it's a bit lighter. It's not as like doesn't kick you in the face.
True. Yeah.
So this is our brew room.
Wow.
You can see we're running out of space. We're going to be moving to a 13,000 square foot brewery in February.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That is
half these
really
tanks are for 1 week, for the other week.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You can feel the vibe.
Yeah.
I like it.
You can feel it's a little warmer in there.
Oh man.
All the conditions work.
Those are the stickers and the cool. Nice.
This is our own machine, reverse osmosis. So it takes everything out of the water completely. So actually what we do for drinking water, we have to remineralize it because otherwise it leaches.
Huh.
But for kombucha, it's perfect because if you have spring water, there's minerals in spring water that can mess with the fermentation.
Really?
And not give you a consistent brew. With reverse osmosis water, you just get a consistent brew. You never have to worry about anything. But because you're adding tea and sugar and the cultures into it, you don't have to worry about the water's not dead anymore. It's just the base for it because you re-mineralize it through making it into kombucha.
Nice.
And yeah, this is a little sales office. So you met Adam and Sid downstairs, the other two owners.
Yeah.
So Adam is our brewmaster. He does research and development. So he's actually my stepbrother.
Yeah, we've been recording the whole time, by the way. I like to keep it like ongoing is best. Yeah. So
yeah, Adam's my stepbrother. Our family. This is a family recipe that we've perfected over the years, and our parents taught us how to brew when we were like 10 years old.
wow.
So this has been going on for like 20 years at this point. Adam really like took the recipe that our parents made and perfected it over the course of probably like 7-8 years. Throughout college, he just like would play around with the recipes, the sugar content, the amount of tea he was steeping, the type of tea, and over the years came out with this recipe and actually had like a cult following at Johns Hopkins.
Oh, really?
Students would come from Johns Hopkins to his house to pick up 6-packs.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he was a touring musician. Oh, yeah. So he was a touring musician, and it became a little too much. Like he was doing it, but it was like there was demand for more, and I was staying with him between houses. There was a 2-week period where I stayed with him and was drinking this every day and just couldn't believe how amazing and light and approachable this kombucha was. Yeah, feel free.
I'm so curious. Yeah. So your parents made this like growing up, like?
Yeah. So my mom actually volunteered for a woman named Sally Fallon, who wrote a book called Nourishing Traditions. And so basically, it was based on the findings of Dr. Weston A. Price, who's like a famous dentist, also I guess a famous nutritionist in a sense, because he did a lot of studies on the teeth and the way that sugar and processed like white flour affected different cultures, and how it affects your like bone structure, particularly mandible. And based on those studies, Sally Fallon created this like cookbook with a lot of stories and background on different cultures and different practices that cultures use. And one of the things in there was kombucha. So when we were younger, we would make sauerkraut, we would make kombucha, kefir, and so out of doing that, when we made it with our parents, one out of every 8 batches was really good, and the rest were like horrible. But it was a lot. It was this method of trial and error and experimentation that my stepdad and Adam's father really like put in place, that Adam then like perfected. And so he still uses the same method for developing new flavors.
Oh, it's still going. All right, I was just making sure because it was like all ones, and I was like, whoa. So he still uses the same flavor?
No, the same technique.
The same
to develop
technique.
Flavors, yeah. And so basically, I was living with him, tried the product he was making, and was like, hey, like I've done some research in the market. The kombucha sector of the beverage industry is the fastest growing out of the whole industry right now. I think last year it grew, I'm sure you're aware,
an insane percent. Yeah, for sure. Enough for Coca-Cola to buy a company and like
43%, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the numbers for it, and I was like, hey, you have an amazing product. I have my background is sales, and so teamed up. We didn't have a lot of money, but pulled together what little money we had, and we're able to rent the side of a juice shop. So actually, and right around the same point, my buddy Sid had just graduated from Duke University with his master's in environmental entrepreneurship and like environmental science.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a lot of skills that we didn't in terms of like building a financial projection on Excel and building models. So I touched base with him, and he started almost like consulting a little for us. And once we sat down, had a couple of meetings, and really like noticed how good a chemistry the three of us had, me and Adam offered him a third of the business as well. So equal partnership.
Nice.
Just because we just the chemistry was amazing. That's honestly, looking back, I would say the greatest. If I were to pinpoint one thing that really made this company successful, it's the chemistry that the three of us have and how well we work together, the dynamic. Each of us brings a different strength to the table, but then there's a lot of overlap in what we do as
That's
well.
awesome. Yeah, I don't remember where I heard it. I think it was a podcast or a book, but they mentioned that a team of three is like by far one of the best teams you could have if they have, you know, the good chemistry. So that's good.
Yeah, it helps because if one person goes a little too far off the rails in one direction, you have two people reeling them back in a little bit. It's
Nice.
Yeah.
This was really tasty. The ginger grapefruit.
So that's our best seller. The ginger grapefruit's our best seller. It's very, very light and crisp. So basically, we started out of the side of a juice shop in Hamden, and you'll see the green tea is very light. So we started out of the side of a juice shop, and we're able to get a license to produce from the health department simply based on the juice shop's license.
Nice.
So we didn't have to pay all these fees and stuff to go through all the process.
Yeah.
But we very quickly outgrew that space. Had to move into this brewery, something bigger. So we found this brewery, we loved it, but with the build out and everything, like it was a lot of money. So we went to a couple banks, no luck because it's a bunch of like just graduated kids from college, like without super established.
How old are you guys, by the way?
I'm 28, Sid's 28, Adam just turned 30.
Oh wow. Cool. I'm 28 too. I literally just turned 28 last week, so that's really inspiring to like know that. Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah. So we started this. We were like putting together all the pieces in 2014, and then really got things underway. First sale was February of 2015.
Okay.
So in 2014, we like went to a couple banks, couldn't get any loans. So we entered a business competition and needed to win in order to move into here. Otherwise, it was one of those things like, all right, that's kind of the end of the story.
Oh, dang.
And we won first prize. We won $30,000 and we're able to move into here.
What? How did you find out about that competition?
We did a ton of research. We entered a couple different competitions, but we did research on local competitions through the university systems. So it was like a Shark Tank style pitch, 1 minute timed pitch with 6 minutes of questions. They don't take any equity. It was just free money that the Radcliffe Foundation, Carol Radcliffe, she's
Any relation to Harry Potter, like the Daniel Radcliffe, I think it is?
No, way less British. But her husband was in the Navy. Her late husband was in the Navy. I think they made their fortune in like concrete work or welding, something like that. But she is a really amazing, I don't even know what to call her, just a member of the community. She donated $1 million to Salisbury for this business program. So every year they host 2 of these competitions.
Wow.
And local businesses get this money to jumpstart their business.
That's amazing.
It's really, really cool. So she was, I mean, obviously her and just the Shore Hatchery in general were like very instrumental with us being able to
Wow.
to take the next
So
step.
where did you guys make your first sales? Was it like a farmer's market or?
So when we started, we were selling to like OK Natural. It's like a little health food store. We actually did not go the farmer's market route because you need a lot of hands, like you need a lot of people there to run the stand. Like typically, if you're running a business, you have a limited amount of time, and for us, standing every Sunday, standing at a booth selling wasn't worth it. Like we make more money because we're mainly a wholesaler. We make it's more money per minute or per hour, I guess. Like selling to a lot of these and making the kombucha, growing the business from the inside, and then just like putting it in a refrigerated truck, sending it out to these places, and then just supporting that with demos, going out and doing samples and educating the clientele. Because the farmers market, you make a lot of money on the spot, but you also have a very varied crowd. It's very different people that come.
And you have to like reintroduce the product every single time.
Exactly.
So
whereas a restaurant, a cafe, like what we found was, because we were competing directly with like Synergy and all these, like Kavita, who's owned by Pepsi, and like Health Aid, who's owned by First Beverage Group, like multi-million dollar companies. But the way we were able to compete with them directly is we noticed that they were shipping from the West Coast. There was very little competition locally. And so when I was looking through it, I was like, man, the West Coast is saturated. They're shipping it to the East Coast. The amount of money it takes to ship that refrigerated product, immediately made us competitive with them because we didn't have to pay that money to ship.
Wow.
And so we're like, okay, so what's another way that we can, because in Whole Foods and Moms, so we got into Whole Foods in, I want to say it was 2016. It was like late 2015 to I think it was early 2016. It took us about a year to get in. As soon as we did, like we quit our day jobs and like went full in, but we noticed in Whole Foods, we were one kombucha out of an ocean of kombucha. So if you get lost on the shelf, no matter how amazing your packaging is, and back then our
they do have a bunch.
was not nearly as nice as it is now.
Did one of you guys design it, or did you guys hire a designer for that?
Actually, a local artist reached out to us.
Nice.
We didn't know this at the time, but she actually like did this professionally, and she reached out and was like, "Hey, I'm a local artist. I'm a huge fan of your product. Your product is the best kombucha I've ever had. It's amazing. I hate your labels, though."
Oh.
And she's like, "I would like to just offer my services for free or just for kombucha.
Gary Vee
I'm
style.
happy to make the first round of just, so you guys can see you don't even have to give me kombucha." And so we gave her a case. We're like, yeah, sure, okay, Turns out she was like a professional and made these amazing labels.
Yeah, the label really caught my attention when I saw it on social media for sure.
They're just, they're a little more like clean, they're not even clean cut, they're a little more like crisp and like hip and urban. A lot of kombucha labels out on the market are very like kind of hippie, like it's guava goddess or like, like earth, air, fire. It's like all these very like hippie labels, and that's fine, and it definitely conveys a certain element of kombucha, but when you have average Joe walking into a cafe, if they see something that says guava goddess, there's no way in hell they're ever going to grab it.
Yeah, that one's pretty tasty though, the guava goddess.
GT's makes a great product, and I love that flavor too.
Yeah.
But something like Trilogy, for example, it's one of their best-selling flavors, but especially in Baltimore, something that we noticed too growing up here, like I grew up in Park Heights on the northwest side, which is like not a super great neighborhood, and I've noticed growing up, and it's been something that's bothered me a lot since I was, high school, old enough to really notice. Black communities in Baltimore have food deserts. If you're in a black community in West Baltimore, chances are that the closest thing to you, without having to take 2 city buses to go to a supermarket, is like a little liquor store or a little corner store, like a 7-Eleven or something like that, where like you're not going to have healthy options. It's not just simply not available. And so it's something that we have very much enjoyed watching in Baltimore. A lot of black-owned businesses, like black-owned vegan businesses, have really started taking off, or black-owned like health-conscious businesses. So for us, it was important that just less for I guess less like Californicated consumers would also have a comfort level with our products. We want this to be accessible not only to people who shop at Whole Foods, but people who just live in Baltimore and just want healthier options than what's out there. And it's something we've really noticed, especially in the Black community. There's this big shift towards health-conscious eating. You see that with like Land of Kush here, and the Grub Factory is an awesome vegan spot on Charles Street. Dovecote Cafe in Druid Hill, and like Whitelock. That neighborhood was like, oh my gosh, I actually lived in that neighborhood a couple years ago, and as soon as Dovecote opened, the whole neighborhood was there.
Nice.
Because it was the only option for, 30-minute walk in any direction.
Yeah.
So for us, we grew up here. Our product and our company reflects who we are as well. So it was very important for us to be approachable and much more like we didn't grow up in the suburbs. We grew up in the city, and so I think our branding reflects that as well. But something we found was these little like independently owned cafes and yoga studios and bars and breweries. So
I like that one a lot. Tart cherry.
Yeah, tart cherry is super good. A lot of these locations didn't have the storage space, refrigerated storage space, to be able to hold, a 10-case order from UNFI. So they couldn't carry kombucha because when UNFI brought them over from the West Coast, the minimums were like, $500 minimum for one delivery. You have to get like 10 cases. They simply didn't have it. So what we did is we offered 2-case minimums. Now we're at 3-case minimums. So we're like, okay, all you have to do is buy 2 cases and we'll deliver to you for free. And so we were able to get our product into these refrigerators where we were the only kombucha, so it had no competition, and we're able to introduce kombucha to a lot of the Baltimore public as Wild Kombucha. So the first interaction, the first experience they had with kombucha was with Wild Kombucha.
Nice.
Which is something, it's how GT Daves and Synergy, how he built that brand. He was the first to the party.
Yeah.
So people in California, people all across the U.S., but
also the only reason Kavita kind of blew up is because GT's had a moment where it was like alcohol content or something like that, and they had to pull off. Yeah, they had to pull off the shelf, and then Kavita Kefir was like boom all over the shelf.
Yep.
Yeah. So being the only brand is key.
Exactly. It's that connotation between the product and the name and the brand. So we were able to really basically grow uninhibited by these larger companies in our area. So that one's our seasonal. It's apple spice. It's all locally sourced, actually. The other ones, obviously, we're not able to locally source watermelon and ginger, but
so apples do grow here?
Yes, apples grow very abundantly in the Atlantic.
Nice.
So we get these apples from a farm in Pennsylvania, and the spices are from Van's Spice Company in Baltimore.
Ooh, it tastes like apple pie.
Yeah.
I like that. That's really...
So in the fall, this one's perfect. That's been a big part of our growth strategy. Another big thing for us is giving back to our community, and we are all very big animal lovers, and all of us have dogs, and have grown up with different animals. I actually had a ferret growing up. So actually, if you notice, we have a bunny on the caps and on the label. We donate 2% of all of our sales to animal habitat conservation. We work with, we have a partnership with the National Wildlife Federation. So a big, very, very important, and we have for, I think at this point, a year and a half. So for us, it's very important to also give back. It's not just about a bottom line. And it ties into us being very local. We sell in the Mid-Atlantic, so we sell in Philadelphia, Maryland, Virginia, DC, or Northern Virginia, DC. But a statistic I love to throw
Yeah,
out
it's
is,
like 5 states, right? Like,
yeah. So
Yeah.
so we don't want this to be a national product. We think kombucha is something that's alive. You're not going to go to Oakland to the SPCA there to get a dog. Like it's a live product. It should stay local for quality purposes, but also we're big believers in employing the social networks of people in the areas that we're in. So we really believe in like hiring locally, employing people locally. So we have employees that live in Philadelphia. We have employees that live in the Washington D.C. area, and by staying local, we're able to build these like really like long-lasting, meaningful relationships with our clients because we can visit them very frequently. Instead of just being like, okay, here's your order, like we'll never see you again. Like we really try to maintain these like much more like people-centric relationships as opposed to just like business-centric relationships.
yeah, I read on the website that people were like going in, they were coming for 6-packs, or did you just tell me?
Oh,
I think
yeah,
you just.
back in the day with Adam. Yeah.
Yeah.
That they'd just like pop in and like, grab 6-packs from him.
Yeah.
So actually at Johns Hopkins, Johns Hopkins and Hamden, so like Charles Village and Hamden are like the two neighborhoods in Baltimore where we like initially like launched it. So we have like the deepest roots are definitely Hamden, Remington, and Charles Village.
Nice.
Like that's really like the birthplace of Wild Kombucha. But it's very important for us. Like a statistic I love is when you spend $1 locally on a local company, that dollar on average circulates 40 times in your community before leaving. So by buying local products, you're reinforcing the entire local economy way more than you might think. That, if you buy a kombucha, we might spend that at a local barbershop, and the barber then might go, grab a sandwich at a local store, and then that person might go grab a beer at a local bar, and just that money stays in the community and helps build everybody up.
Local economy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's very, very important to us. Down the road, we might be releasing, some other products.
Cool.
And those, because they'd be shelf stable, those would be, much more inclined to do on a national basis. But something that really for us, so there's 2 books that were a big help for us starting this. One was Mission in a Bottle, Seth Goldman, Honest Tea Story. That was a very, very good resource for us. He lists all of his numbers and is super honest. No pun intended. But he's very open about the way he ran his business. It's funny because the book is in a graphic novel style. Yeah. But it's like super detailed, and he lists every all the margins and numbers initially that he had for this product, and how the way they were able to raise money and the connections they had. And then the other book was High Hanging Fruit by Mark Rampolla from Zico Coconut Water.
Okay.
And something he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that if you can't do $1 million in sales in your own backyard, you shouldn't even bother going national.
Wow.
And that is something that has very much resonated with us.
Okay. Yeah, that's a strong statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely gonna read those books.
They're
So,
super good.
how many employees do you guys have?
So right now we have 11 employees, ranging from I have 2 salespeople that help me out, help us reach out a little further. One's Philadelphia, the other's Northern Virginia, DC, and then Baltimore's kind of whenever they're getting a little worn down from the traveling, I just have them stay here. And so everybody kind of does Baltimore, including myself. Mm-hmm. Then we have about 5 employees in operations, because we bottle everything, we make everything by hand. We don't co-pack anything, so it's a labor-intensive process. We were able to get a bottling line. I'm sure you saw it downstairs.
Yeah, that's nice.
We were able to get a bottling line.
Do you guys I saw the sanitation station for the bottles? Do you guys recycle bottles?
No, we're not allowed to.
Okay.
So you need to have a machine that heats bottles to a certain temp. it's like you've probably seen them in restaurants and stuff, or like it's like those dishwashers, like the industrial dishwashers. You need to have those because otherwise, like, it doesn't kill the bacteria. So what we do is we do a non-rinse sanitizer for the clean bottles. We just like do a non-rinse sanitizer, like most breweries use, and then run them through the line. But once they've been drank, because we tried at the beginning, and like it's like the bottles would come back greasy, like people's like fingers left like a grease on the bottle. So the health department requires you to heat them up to a certain temperature in an industrial washing machine. And then when we looked into the prices of those, like it was not even close.
Okay.
So we actually haven't given up any equity. We haven't raised any capital. We own 100% of the company.
Amazing.
So because of that, we've had to grow in a very organic fashion. We haven't been able to just, like leaps and bounds. It's been very like every single dollar spent has had to generate value in some kind of way for us. Amazing. So it's made us much more strategic, I guess you could say, in the way we approach growth.
What would you say was like the most important purchase you guys made? Or the most valuable?
I'd say that bottling line.
The bottling line?
The amount, because to give you an idea, last year until September, we were filling every single bottle by hand from a bucket. We would pour the kombucha into like a mixing bucket, like a dispensing bucket from like a restaurant. You probably saw them stacked up, the big white buckets in the corner.
I'll have to see it again.
Yeah. I'll show you again. But basically, we would fill them each bottle by hand. And actually, can you come with me real quick? So when we started, we didn't have money for a bottling line. So what we did is we found this old workbench in my brother Adam's basement.
Yeah.
Which we still have actually. It's this right here. So we reinforced the legs. We sanded it down. We refinished it. We attached a bottler here, and then we actually had a bottler on the other end. And until last year, this is what we used to bottle every single bottle. To give you an idea, we sold like almost $400,000 worth of product last year. So every single bottle was capped using this.
How much do your bottles go for, by the way? Like each bottle of kombucha?
So in the store, they're anywhere from like $350 to $450.
Okay.
So it's right in line. Like GTs in Whole Foods were $349. GTs is $329. So even though it like at the beginning was it definitely like hurt us a little bit in terms of our bottom line. Like we subsidized the company with our free labor essentially at the beginning. We wanted to be competitive because we want, again, it just ties back into our mission of having approachable but also like readily available kombucha. And price point is a big part of that. If your price point is super high, you're not going to be readily available to people who don't have a lot of disposable income.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we understand kombucha is still a functional beverage. It's still on the higher end, but we're working as we get bigger. Once we're in this new space and aren't spending as much on labor, we would like to keep bringing our prices down as much as we can. Okay. So it's something that's going to be a continued focus for us as we keep growing.
Nice. Yeah. Most local brewers that I've seen, like they charge around $6, $7. So to see the $3 definitely makes you competitive with GTs. You know, it must be a lot easier to get into wholesale like that as well.
Exactly. I mean, for wholesale, that's the name of the game. Is staying competitive in those prices. But for us too, it's just like we want to change the beverage landscape in the U.S. We want to offer people other things besides soda, and just almost like if we can have a hand in eliminating high fructose corn syrup from the beverage diet of the American consumer, we will do everything we can to move in that direction. So the way you do that is just offering people other beverages that they're comfortable with, that they're familiar with, that they can grab off the shelf, and that's our other lines of beverages that we're going to be releasing are going to be very much in that same vein. All natural, organic products that are still competitive price-wise, taste-wise. But you know that.
What are some of the other products like sauerkraut?
No. So I mean, we love to do sauerkraut. I don't see that as something that's going to be in the near future. But for us, another drink that we're working on is a mate tea drink.
I saw you guys have like blueberry mate.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we
that
have
was
that flavor, but we also have a mate-based drink. So it's not kombucha, it's not fermented. It's just it's a tasty drink that again, it's a functional beverage. Because mate, I'm sure as you know, has a high volume of caffeine.
I love mate, man.
Same.
Mate is like, mate is my jam.
So actually, that's a big part of it. Is just offering, you know, that's another hole in the market I saw is you know, a lot of the grab and go breakfast drinks, like the frappuccinos, the bottled fraps from Starbucks. All those are loaded with sugar and like loaded with like fat and sugar. Not that fat.
No, but it really is. No, like the sugar content in the Starbucks stuff. Because I was doing the caramel frappuccino, and I loved the caramel frappuccino when I first started drinking. And then I noticed I kind of felt a little weird. But then one day on Facebook, I think I saw a post, and it said 1 caramel frappuccino is equal to, and it had like Snickers, like a million different candies, and it was like, this is in 1 caramel frappuccino, and I was like, I'm definitely not eating one of those, so like, why would I eat a whole drink of this stuff, you know? And so that was like the last time I had a caramel frappuccino, but it was still pretty tasty.
I mean, no, I love those. I think it's like, and that's something else, like for us, like in the Hispanic community, like my family in Peru, like the level of sweetness that they like is outrageous. Like same in Sid's families from India. So like we've noticed like the Indian palate and like the Latin American palate are super sweet still. Like Americans are moving a little more towards like low sugar and like but a lot of like if you grab chicha morada out of a fridge, it's like 40 grams of sugar. It's like loaded. So we're basically trying to take these ancient drinks and make a modern spin that's a little healthier. So
I actually have my dad. He's going to Peru this weekend. We fly standby, so it's pretty easy for us to travel. So I had my dad bring Yerba Luisa, which is what's in Inca Cola, and dehydrated chicha, so that we can make some maybe variations of that. And yeah, so let's see how that goes, man. And lucuma. You know lucuma. I was talking to my friends and they were like, I don't know what lucuma is. And I was like, oh, you're going to learn. You're going to learn what lucuma is. So I'm excited about that. But have you guys seen a lot of success with the yerba mate?
Yeah, we that's why we don't have it right now for you to try. It's sold out.
That's amazing.
So that we have been selling out of like crazy.
Do they even have yerba mate around here? Because this is like a completely different culture out here, right?
It took us a while to source it. We've gotten good sourcing now. But yeah, it's tricky to source. It's not something that you can just like go out and buy very easily.
Nice.
Yeah. I probably have to wrap up.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna try the mate drink.
You have some?
I can bring it up.
I would definitely appreciate that, man. Dude, thank you so much for letting us do this interview. Like that was amazing. I'm so excited to have met you guys and have tried all these flavors, seen the magic, and like heard your story. That was like super grateful.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, man. Taking the time to like chat with me and come out here on a weekend.
Yeah, dude, this means so much to me. Like even if no one listens to the podcast, I'm like, this is like
You got 3 listeners at least.
Thank you so much.
Excited. Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna. Whew. There you go.